Welcome back, football fans. Today we have huge breaking updates surrounding Barcelona, Newcastle United, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool and Real Madrid, with major transfer stories developing on all fronts. We start in Catalonia, where Pedri is not expected to start versus Alavés, as Barcelona take a cautious approach with his recovery. Diario SPORT confirms that Hansi Flick will only use Pedri for a few minutes, prioritizing his fitness ahead of massive games against Real Betis and Atletico Madrid. Meanwhile, Marc Casado is set to start alongside Frenkie de Jong, and the dream trio of Raphinha, Lewandowski, Lamine Yamal is back in action. But that's not all. Across Europe, Newcastle United are being urged to make a €30 million January move for unstoppable AZ Alkmaar star Kees Smit, as Real Madrid and Barcelona watch him closely. Dutch expert Michael Bell compares Smit's vision and ball carrying to Frenkie de Jong, and calls him one of the brightest talents in Europe. And the transfer battle continues. Marc Guehi, frustrated after failing to secure a summer move to Liverpool, is now on the radar of Atletico Madrid and has also been sounded out by Barcelona as they search for a left-sided centre-back. Huge injuries, massive transfers and major tactical decisions, we break it all down right now. Barcelona midfielder unlikely to start versus Alavés. Here's what Flick is planning. After a disappointing loss to Chelsea in midweek, Barcelona will look to bounce back to form as they take on Deportivo Alavés later today. Heading into this game, there is much excitement surrounding Pedri and his potential participation in the game. The Spanish midfielder was not part of the Barcelona squad versus Chelsea, but he is expected to be back in action this weekend. Barcelona playing the long game. However, according to Diario SPORT, Barcelona are not too keen on rushing Pedri directly back into action. In fact, the Spanish international will not start the game under any circumstances and will only play a few minutes to gain rhythm. Barcelona's bigger goal with Pedri is to have him recover faster heading into games against Real Betis and Atletico Madrid at the start of December. It appears Barca view those matches as critical to the club's chances of keeping up with Real Madrid at the top of the table. As for Alavés, Hansi Flick is banking on Marc Casado to provide the goods, with the youngster set to start alongside Frenkie de Jong in the double pivot. It will be interesting to see when exactly the German plans to bring on Pedri, but he will hope he won't need his services regardless of when he plays. While Pedri may not be fit enough to start, Flick is expected to field Raphinha in the starting 11 this afternoon. The Brazilian's return will mark the reunion of Barcelona's dream front trio of him, Robert Lewandowski and Lamine Yamal. Newcastle urged to make €30 million unstoppable January transfer ahead of Real Madrid and Barcelona. Newcastle United have been linked with a move for AZ Alkmaar midfielder Kees Smit. Newcastle United are said to be monitoring the situation of Dutch teenage sensation Kees Smit and could make a January transfer move to steal a march on their rivals. The 19-year-old Dutch youth international has broken into the AZ Alkmaar side this month and has made 21 appearances already this season for the Dutch side. Smit emerged on the radar of English football fans with his performance against Crystal Palace in the Europa League earlier this month, and he has been linked with the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona. Newcastle could be an appealing move if they can offer Smit the promise of some first-team game time, but they may need to move in January to steal a march on any rivals for his signature. And given the Magpies have 6 first-team midfielders, one of them would likely have to be moved on to accommodate a move for Smit, with Joe Willock being linked with a winter move to Crystal Palace this week. So with that in mind, Chronicle Live has spoken to Dutch football expert Michael Bell, editor of Football Orange, to get the inside track on the talented teenage midfielder. What sort of player is Smit? What could Newcastle fans expect? Smit is actually a very versatile midfielder who can play deep in midfield but also as an 8 or even a 10. His passing and vision are outstanding and he loves to dribble forward with the ball. He creates tempo in the midfield and he is always aware of his teammates around him, scanning the field for the perfect pass. He actually reminds me a bit of Frenkie de Jong in that aspect. Gets the ball to feet and plays it simple but can also pick out a teammate with a defense-splitting ball or dribble past 2 or 3 opponents. For the AZ youth teams he scored a lot of goals and he is yet to really transfer this to the senior team. He usually gets the pre-assists rather than the goals or assists at the moment. However, once he adds goals and assists to his game he will be unstoppable. Could you explain to us how he has quickly become so highly sought after with his performances for AZ? He may have a growing reputation now outside of the Netherlands, but inside he has been known about for years. 2 years ago he was a big part of the AZ side that won the UEFA Youth League, and last summer he was player of the tournament as the Netherlands won the U19 Euros. I think his performances at that tournament really made clubs stand up and notice. He broke fully into the AZ side this season, and there have been a few outstanding performances, but he is yet to really put down a marker as many expected. He is an outstanding talent, and I'm not surprised that Newcastle are trying to get in there before a number of other clubs. Especially after he showcased his talent against Crystal Palace recently in the UEFA Conference League. What is the view in the Netherlands about his future and all the links with massive clubs? Are Newcastle viewed as a good move for his development? In the Netherlands he has a growing reputation, and there have been constant links to Barcelona and Real Madrid. Newcastle will be seen as a more sensible option for the player who is not yet setting the Eredivisie on fire. Is Smit popular among his teammates and AZ fans? Smit is very popular amongst the fan base, as they have been aware of his strengths for years. They have waited for him to break into the first team, and they would be gutted to see him go so soon. In terms of his teammates, there have been no bad words said about him, and he works hard on the pitch and in training. There have been no issues mentioned personality-wise. He seems to keep his head down and is very grounded. What sort of transfer fee would you envisage Newcastle needing to stump up to prize him away from Alkmaar? It would have to be a record fee to consider AZ to sell, especially mid-season, so you are looking at upwards of 25 to 30 million euros. AZ aren't in financial trouble, and they also know that Troy Parrott will be bringing in a lot of money soon too. It would have to be too good to turn down. Crystal Palace defender Marc Guehi was reportedly frustrated that he did not complete a move to Liverpool on transfer deadline day, but it could have its advantages. The England international is out of contract at the end of the season, and able to sign on a free with sides from abroad in just over a month. He will have his pick of Europe's top clubs. Guehi is still a top priority for Liverpool, who this week reportedly sent a bid to Palace that has not been answered. Bayern Munich have also expressed an interest, but believe Liverpool are heavy favorites for his signature, while Real Madrid have seemingly decided his wage demands are too high. Atletico Madrid have now joined the race for Marc Guehi, and according to Mateo Moretto on Radio Marca, they are watching the Crystal Palace defender very closely. Sources say Atletico are very interested, and see Guehi as a potential statement signing to strengthen their backline. But they're not alone. Barcelona have also made contact regarding Guehi's situation. Despite their ongoing salary cap restrictions, Barca have asked about the defender and added him to their shortlist for the center-back position. Hansi Flick wants a defender who can play on the left side of the back line, ideally someone left-footed, and Guehi fits the profile, even if he's not a natural left-footer. With multiple top clubs circling, the battle for Guehi is heating up fast, and his future could become one of the major stories of the next transfer window. Atletico's attempts to strengthen their backline. Los Rojiblancos have spent big on their backline of late, with Robin Lenormand and David Hanko arriving for over €60 million over the last 2 summers. Hanko has been impressive early on, but has often been used at left back, while Lenormand has battled injuries, and is yet to hit his best form at the Metropolitano. With Jose Maria Jimenez perhaps in his final years at Atletico, a move for Guehi is understandable. That wraps up today's massive European football update. Barcelona carefully managing Pedri's return. Newcastle preparing a bold €30 million move for one of Europe's top young midfielders, and the rising battle for Marc Guehi between Liverpool, Atletico Madrid, and even Barcelona. The January transfer window is heating up fast, and the decisions made in the next few weeks could reshape the futures of multiple top clubs across Europe. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest transfer news, tactical updates, and exclusive analysis. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Barcelona rest Pedri longer? Is Kees Smit worth €30 million? Where should Marc Guehi go next? Thanks for watching, and see you in the next update.